Hey there guys, this is TheBassSinger313 here, and welcome back to another episode of Compare and Contrast, where we put in two separate games and compete them to see which one's superior. And in celebration of Call of Duty Black Ops I decided to take it upon myself to compete two of my favorite Black Ops games, Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2.
The only game I won't be covering is Call of Duty Black Ops 3. I have played this game and thought about adding it alongside these two games for a comparison episode, but I didn't finish the game yet, and I have to be honest, I didn't enjoy it too much. Now, these two games, god, they were my childhood. Yes, I was one of those kids who thought it was cool to play M-rated military shooter games, but I will state first and foremost that even to this day, these two are still some of my all-time favorite Call of Duty games.
People love to complain about the annualization of the Call of Duty series, and to a certain extent, I definitely agree. However, that's not going to be the topic of this video. Rather, I want to showcase the best parts of the Call of Duty series, which is why I'm comparing these two games, since these two are my all-time favorites. So, which one's better? Let's find out.
Call of Duty 1 starts off with our main protagonist, Mason, a CIA operative in an interrogation room being strapped by a chair and being forced to explain something called the numbers. We flash back to April 17, 1961 under a mission of Operation 40, where our objective is to assassinate Cuba dictator Fidel Castro. Yeah, if you ever paid attention in history class, you know that our team is unsuccessful with the operation. We get to kill a lookalike at the very least. It's pretty much the only reason why this game is banned in Cuba. Mason unfortunately gets captured along the ride, and Fidel Castro is alive after all, and we are taken to a Russian prison for Khuda, ran by Dragovich, one of the three main antagonists of the game. During our stay here, we befriend another prisoner by the name of Viktor Reznov. After 2 years of planning our escape, we initiate an 8-step process to freedom, along the way losing some of our closest comrades and many lives in the process. We're able to escape via a train, however the fate of Reznov, one of the surviving members of the prison, is unknown, as he does not participate alongside with us in our escape. We're then summoned to the Pentagon, being escorted by Jason Hudson, another CIA agent. After being greeted by Secretary of Defense Robert McNamara and the President of the United States at the time, John F. Kennedy, our mission is to eliminate Dragovich, an enemy of the United States. Huh. That was weird. Anyways, we are sent to Russia alongside Woods, Bowman, and Weaver, whom we rescue after being taken hostage, and sabotage the space shuttle by blowing it up. Furthermore, the base self-destructs, but Dragovich's body is nowhere to be seen along the wreckage. Afterwards, the team is sent to Vietnam in order to defend the Quezon military base, and then sent to Hue to find more intel about Dragovich from an unknown defector. That defector happens to be Reznov, who turns out to survive the escape of Khuda. We're then sent to Kowloon, Hong Kong to interrogate Dr. Clark, who has more information on Dragovich. However, it was all a trap as the team gets ambushed and Dr. Clark gets killed along the process. I'm assuming this mission was just for filler because it literally doesn't get mentioned anywhere else in the plot. Don't forget that in present-day Black Ops, we are still being interrogated by unknown suspects and are questioned about Reznov, our Russian comrade, whom the interrogators were absolutely suspicious over after hearing Mason's story. Why is it that Dragovich, Krashenko, and Steiner must die? They are warmongers who have defected their country in order to gain power with the weapon Nova 6, basically a gigantic poison gas that instantly kills anyone who breathes into it, and they plan on polluting America with the weapon if their demands are not met. Furthermore, they showcase the power of Nova 6 in front of Reznov and his comrades simply because they don't like him. Fueled by revenge, Reznov implores to Mason that these three men must die at all costs. Continuing on with the Vietnam War, Mason and his unit is sent to deal with even more Viet Cong soldiers and find the whereabouts of Dragovich, only to be faced against Krashenko and captured. Meanwhile, Agent Hudson, a CIA agent we met back when we were invited by President Kennedy, is on a mission with his group to find more information about Steiner. It was a trap as an avalanche erupts, however the group manages to escape safely and find out the whereabouts of Steiner. Going back to Mason's captured group during the interrogation, Bowman dies. Luckily, Woods and Mason escapes, eventually reunited with Reznov as we face off against Krashenko. He eventually is eliminated after Woods' sacrifice, eliminating one of the three we need to kill. Afterwards, Mason and Reznov found out about the whereabouts of Steiner and proceeds to eliminate him. However, Hudson and his group also need Steiner as well, and they want him alive. Unfortunately, Reznov delivers a bullet, killing Steiner, leading to Mason's capture as we finally learn about what the numbers mean. During Mason's capture, way back in Cuba, he was sold as a prisoner and brainwashed by the Russians to do several commands under certain code names. However, Reznov is having none of that and activated certain commands within himself as well. It turns out Reznov was just a hallucination inside Mason's mind, leading him to believe Reznov was there all along when in actuality he died during the escape. This explains why Mason has an odd urge to kill President John F. Kennedy. The Russians activated a code for Mason to kill him. However, thanks to Reznov's deactivation, he bites the urge to kill the President of the United States. The interrogators turns out to be Hudson and his crew now that Mason's finally come back to his senses. It is time for our final mission, where we kill Dragovich. He is located in the ship called the Razolka, which happens to be the ship Castro gave to Dragovich, and the location of all the numbers that Mason keeps hearing from. The ship is about to self-destruct, but Mason is determined to make sure Dragovich dies before abandoning it. We finally locate him, but it seems as though Dragovich has the upper hand up until Mason finally kills him. We escape the ship, and mission accomplished, followed by an epilogue with President John F. Kennedy, Secretary of Defense McNamara, fellow presidential competitor Nixon, and Fidel Castro in negotiation, followed by a zombie apocalypse. And it ends right there. I think this was meant as a joke. Phew! I remember when I first played through the story mode, I sort of got lost. Then again, I was 14 at the time, and I didn't really play the story mode for understanding the story. I mainly just like shooting enemies to progress through the next stage, and now that I've got some experience in story narrative, I gotta say, this was surprisingly well done. The characters you meet are well developed, they have their own personalities that make them more unique, and when you all of a sudden lose them, it's like losing a friend. Alongside the great cast of supporting characters, the villains also play their roles right too. Mason has the motivation to carry out his actions to eliminate the threat, and the plot has woven everyone's collective stories together in a satisfying final showdown. That moment when Agent Hudson puts on his sunglasses, you know something's going down. Yeah, it's pretty much an action movie cliche, but an awesome one at that. The voice acting is very on point, naturalistic, and the over-the-top action really gets your blood pumping. Call of Duty Black Ops 2 is a sequel to the first one, being it takes place after the game, way in the distant future of 2025. Our main character this time is Mason's son, David. He and his operative/best friend, Harper, rushes into the retirement complex in order to interrogate an aging Frank Woods, who surprisingly survived the bomb blast after killing Krashenko. It is suspected that Frank Woods has important information on the man called Raul Menendez, a Nicaraguan political activist under the leadership of a terrorist organization called Cortes Diaz. During the interrogation, Woods explains how he was able to survive the blast, but was immediately captured and held prisoner of South American pirates of the Cubango. He was only rescued thanks to the help of Hudson, Mason, and a minor character named Zavimbi, who was at war with a Marxist government. It was revealed that Menendez was the one who organized the entire operation, so with further investigations, we head towards Afghanistan, where the Nicaraguan soldier makes his war profits with the Soviet Union. And it is revealed that Menendez's sister, Josefina, was burned and scarred by American businessmen who started a house fire in order to gain insurance fraud, and to further legitimize Menendez's hatred towards America, the CIA assassinated his father, and on top of that, Mason, Hudson, and Woods, throughout the entire operation, who were in charge of this operation while raiding Menendez's estate, flats out kills Josefina. Granted, it was Woods' rage that led him to do so, albeit accidentally, but even beforehand, everyone's out for this dude's blood and anything surrounding him.
Oh my god, Call of Duty actually trying to make America look like the bad guys. That's quite controversial. Mind you, Menendez and his group of Hispanic pirates are no martyrs of heroism or whatever. They still deal illegal drugs and sell them to the borders of America. But still, that's very clear. It's very clear that what they showcase is that there are no heroes in war, and that's, I think, a very powerful message.
This further cements this ideology as you actually get to play as Menendez in this chapter, and I gotta say, huge props to the voice acting and mocap actor Camar de los Reyes for portraying not only a sadistic villain, but a surprisingly sympathetic one too. I'll get to more info on the character analysis, but my goodness, this chapter is really over the top with the feels, segmenting my mind as one of the best chapters in Call of Duty history, up there with Barracuda and No Russian. Afterwards, Menendez recruits a new fake agent, Manuel Noriega, who will act as a hostage/mole for the CIA operatives in order to enact his revenge against the CIA members who were involved with the raid of his house. It's 1980 night at Panama. Noriega has insight to Menendez's location, along with the help of Hudson, who was suspiciously silent throughout most of the battle. After waves of intruders and enemies to deal with, we have reached to our final destination. Woods finally gets to have the bullet and shoots Menendez, ending the mission. But it turns out it wasn't Menendez who got shot, but Mason, the protagonist of Black Ops 1 and the father of David, the main protagonist of Black Ops 2. Menendez also cripples Woods, kidnaps him, and proceeds to make a hostage negotiation. One more life for his satisfaction, and he will stop his tired behavior unless the CIA intervenes once again. Hudson sacrifices himself, leaving Woods crippled and David an orphan. And so ends our flashback investigation as adult David in the present day is heartbroken and scarred to know what the fate of his father was. With all that information finally revealed in what Menendez has to offer against America's military, we have several missions in order to combat Menendez's plan on world domination, all of which, by the way, is possible to fail at and continue the mission. This is an interesting innovation I believe Black Ops 2 has, and to my knowledge, no other Call of Duty game has. Multiple endings. Depending on your actions and whether or not you succeed or fail a mission, the game still goes on, and all of that determines the ending that you get, with the best ending possible being ones that you succeed in or rectify the failures, and the bad ending, well, failing the mission as the story progresses. Now, of course, there's still death and game over, so the journey is not going to end after that. Just by the end of the mission, where whatever you did had consequences. I'd also like to note that some of these modern missions are somewhat sprinkled alongside the past missions, so the way I've explained the story so far is not exactly the order that was actually happening in the game, but I did so just for you guys to understand the full context of the story, to the best of my abilities. The first modern mission starts with a Cortes Diaz base alongside our friend Harper and two other operatives, Salazar and Crosby, who is led by Admiral Briggs, one of our commanding officers for the entire game. We are advised to gather information on Menendez as he has upwards of billions of supporters who may or may not even know his true terroristic nature. Inside the temple, which is actually an underground facility, they found out about the amount of high-tech weapons he had managed to build up, as shown with the ASD mini-tank. Think of this as our mini-boss turned regular henchman throughout the game. This should be ample enough evidence that Menendez is arming himself for a war. This is further amplified by a magnetometric named Eric, who was working alongside Menendez before defecting, knowing his true intentions. Upon following the hostage, he gives us the device that Menendez plans to utilizing to launch a cyber attack codenamed Karma. Unfortunately, he is immediately shot down by Menendez's men. Regardless, this should be enough evidence to prove Menendez's guilt. Our next mission is to find out more accomplices of Menendez in order to make sure that he has no more power, and we start at Pakistan. One of them is Menendez's second in command, being Falco. No, that ain't Falco. This is Falco, specifically Dave Falco. Information thanks to Farid, an undercover agent working alongside us, posing as one of Menendez's men. Minor detail I feel I have to mention is that much like Mason's psychedelic hallucinations, David seems to be suffering through the same thing. This was a little forced with the way the dialogue is handled, but overall I do appreciate the genetic nod to the father and son link. Flash forward to the mission, our team is in position to locate Menendez, secretly gaining intel on him and DeFalco's conversation. We learn more information about the codename Karma, as it is actually a weapon that Menendez wants to utilize for cyber attacks. But to the surprise of our heroes, they knew that they were actually gaining intel on Menendez, as it was part of their plan. Salazar managed to secure an LZ, and our new objective is to get the hell out of there. We do so at the cost of Harper's face being burned, which actually could have been avoided if I was a better driver.
What the hell is that?
We then head to a floating city named Colossus. Don't question how a floating city is possible, Bioshock Infinite can explain that for you. We're here to recover Karma and its weapons, and to do that, we use the Spider device as an infiltration tool, while also splitting up with Harper, where he poses as one of the partygoers of this rich environment. The Spider, codenamed Ziggy, managed to encrypt DNA from employees and security guards before getting caught. Looking up all the information in the central base, we found out that Karma is in fact a woman with a tattoo on her neck named Chloe Lynch. So our next objective is to extract her out of Colossus. She is currently located at Club Sonar, a nightclub in the daylight. I'm sensing a contradiction here. Anyways, we found her, but Falco has hostages and pressures everyone to locate Chloe. Taking no for an answer, he straight up kills the hostages and grabs another one until she reveals herself. Chloe, with conviction, springs up and surrenders, thus Falco kills the hostages regardless and everyone present at the club. God, what a... Our heroes must make haste to bring her back, and she's gone. Well, that sucks. This is probably a good time to mention side missions you can do under certain requirements. This is purely optional, but in order to get certain endings, you may also need to do them. I managed to unlock this one by failing the mission, so we do that, and now Chloe's back at our side. With everything coming into play, Menendez is officially going to make his public appearance to declare war on America and China, both superpowers at the same time on June 19th, the day of his announcement. Farid must play a very convincing supporter of Menendez as he tells him to meet at the Citadel, where he's captured Harper. Menendez, who implies to know that Farid was already a mole inside the operation, forces Farid to execute Harper on sight, so with the press of a button, he kills his best friend. Clearly heartbroken, all he can do now is help David and Salazar bring Menendez to justice, extracting him on site and delivering him to a military base called the Obama, Onto the USS Barack Obama, we attempt to interrogate Menendez as he will not talk to anyone unless it's David. He further explains why he's doing what he's doing, and it is purely to fuel his rage and revenge. For Josefina, for the people who murdered her, for the people who burned down his house just for the insurance money. He's destroying the world out of pent-up rage. Furthermore, intruders are raiding the Obama, and to make things worse, Menendez broke free, taking Salazar as hostage and knocking us out. As we awaken, it is our duty to protect Admiral Briggs, take down Menendez, and eliminate all threats to the Obama. Meanwhile, Menendez and his second-in-command, Falco, manages to breach the Briggs location and holds him as hostage. Furthermore, Salazar is actually a defector to our cause, which easily explains how Menendez manages to escape, and so he kills off 2 soldiers. Thankfully, Farid manages to eliminate Del Falco before he meets the same fate. With Menendez wounding Briggs, shooting him in the leg, he uploads a virus for the cyber attack and escapes. Fortunately, Chloe's alive, so she's able to counterhack the system upload, negating Menendez's virus. Meanwhile, David confronts Salazar, keeping him prisoner for his betrayal. David chases down Menendez, and it's time for the final showdown. On top of finding Menendez, we must also protect the President of the United States. Wait. Oh! It's a woman! Huh. That's interesting. If the next 2020 election happens to be a white female, well, you know what game predicted it. Also, we've got the Chinese helping us as well, since Menendez is very adamant about eliminating both countries. This level is really long, but to make a long story short, David essentially chases Menendez while protecting the president. Eventually, we head to a monitor headquarters where Menendez finally unleashes his cyber attacks. He sends drones all over the world and self-destructs them, martyring him as both a war criminal who's actually fighting for peace as he essentially destroys both America's and China's military forces. We finally capture Menendez, and it is our job to either kill him or spare him. I spared him, taking him prisoner, ending the game. There are multiple different endings that you can get, and I didn't really bother to record footage for all of them, so I'm only going to explain the ending that I happen to get. Since Chloe was still alive, she's actually taking the credit for the cyber attack that Menendez initiates. Chloe's living status depends on whether or not Farid kills Harper or attempts to kill Menendez. Furthermore, it turns out that Mason is actually alive. This occurs in the past where you actually shoot his leg rather than his head. All the other neutral and bad endings, depending on your actions, are certainly a lot more dramatic and I feel are very well done, but they're not canonical, so I didn't really mention them. If you really want to see those endings, I suggest either getting the game for yourself or just looking up the cutscenes on YouTube. As for the epilogue, much like the first Black Ops, there is somewhat of a joke ending where Woods and Menendez plays for Avenged Sevenfold, and if you know me, I'm a huge fan of them. Alright, well, there is a lot of info to take account to, so let's make this brief. I think this is easily one of the best stories in Call of Duty history. As a sequel, it excels in everything I ever wanted, but also innovates in the amount of choices you are forced to make and how it affects the story. Mind you, the best ending in the game is confirmed to be canon, so every other ending is more for entertainment, if anything. All the characters, especially the villains, have their own sets of charm. Every hero's witty banner makes them feel a lot like friends, arms and comrades, and when Salazar betrays you, it catches you out of the loop. There are certainly some hints along the way that Salazar was actually a defector, so it doesn't come off as an M. Night Shyamalan twist. As for Menendez, oh boy Menendez! This has got to be the best villain in Call of Duty history. Mind you, I didn't play every Call of Duty game, though I certainly do own them, that's for sure. Menendez is very, very well written, being both a menacing villain our heroes must overcome even after the game's ending, but also being somewhat of a sympathetic one too, bringing a more lighter side to your usual evil dictators. This was certainly a bold move for Call of Duty, as it's pretty much the embodiment of America yeah syndrome. This character actually manages to bring America, and to a certain extent China, in a relatively negative light. No other Call of Duty villain has ever done this. They're either for war for territory and control, war for religion, or war just for fun. But this? He's using war to help his cause, which perfectly explains why he has so many followers behind his footsteps. All this power, it's just a revenge story. To avenge his sister.
So I think Black Ops 2 has the better story. Mind you, that doesn't mean Black Ops 1 has a terrible story by any means. I think it's still enjoyable in its own right. But Black Ops 2 manages to innovate and excel in story writing that I can't really think of any flaws with it aside from just minor nitpicks. Now granted, that's just a story. What matters is the gameplay of the Call of Duty series, and, well, frankly, there's really not much to compare.
Both games don't really differ too much. They're used within the same game engine, and mission structures are pretty much the same boots on the ground run and gun gameplay. Although I do have to give special mentions to this mission in Black Ops 1. Normally for the Call of Duty engine you have regenerating health, but this mission actually cleverly has it so that you can't have regenerating health otherwise you die, being that the air is completely exposed to Nova 6, and your only form of support is wearing a bodysuit with a helmet, and making sure you don't crack it. While Black Ops 2's story innovates so much from the traditional Call of Duty game, gameplay-wise, it's pretty much Black Ops 1.5. You got sprint, you got aim down sights, crouch, jump button, and a max of 2 weapons, plus 2 grenades. If we get to the multiplayer, that does become a lot more different. However, that's the only thing I'm not covering for both games, as I no longer own an Xbox Live account, and the Wii U barely has anyone playing. Damn, it can't even reach 4 digits. From memory, all I can say is the online was buttery smooth with very few lag in both games. And the maps that were showcased were awesome. Huge shoutouts to anyone who remembers Nuketown. This was an amazing map. This also further extends to the zombie mode as well. It's definitely very fun if you have multiple players, but by yourself? Yeah, not so much. Anyways, they both play the same, so let's move on to the presentation. You know, I'm actually surprised how some of the graphics managed to hold up. Sure, it's nothing new or special, there's a huge amount of dark brown and bland gray for my taste, but it doesn't look ugly by any means. I think the character models, background scenery looks decent enough for me to enjoy the game, though I do think there's a lot of herky-jerky animations, more so on Black Ops 1 than Black Ops 2. On the other hand, the lighting and scenery when it comes to the dark moments really makes things more menacing and scary. Both the interrogation scenes and the execution scene really showcase the dynamic lighting very well. There is one thing that really bothers me a lot, and I don't understand why this is the case. In Black Ops 1, they censor the word f**k in an M-rated game, but not in the dialogue? Why is that?
I mean, who does that? Showcase the F word sometimes, but completely censor them the other times. Whoever does that, he must be a fucking idiot. And he should be shot.
Black Ops 2 has a lot of nods to the original Black Ops, as mentioned before, with not only Mason and David sharing the same psychedelic mind manipulation, but during the past missions, Koshenko and Reznov make appearances as well.
Stuck around for a bit, huh?
It's nothing that affects the plot too much, but it's a very nice nod to Mason's backstory. Furthermore, there's even a mission in the future where at one point you see the same interrogation setting that Mason used to be held at. And oh man, the music. Black Ops is very special in its own way, giving this journey of ecstasy-like feeling, and damn, those 3 notes. Simple, but badass. Arguably though, I found Black Ops 2 music to be more superior. The music tracks range from a wide spread of different emotions, such as the main theme giving out an array of different feelings from depression, anger, and fear. But also when the action moments come in, you truly feel like a badass as well. It's not as simple as Black Ops 3 notes, but it's definitely more dynamic, making it feel a lot more special. Also, they got Avenged Sevenfold. That has to count like 3,000 points or something. Sure, Black Ops 1 has Eminem, and his song is also pretty damn good as well. But good God, I love me some Avenged Sevenfold. I guess something I should note is my background. If you guys can't tell, I am in fact of Vietnamese descent, and in Call of Duty Black Ops, you in fact kill a bunch of Vietnamese dudes. I'm pretty sure some of these are my ancestors. They all look alike. Yeah, I know I ran into that one. But this does pose a question of if I'm offended at all by the portrayal of how Vietnamese people are being represented. And while I can't speak for all Vietnamese citizens, I can give you my personal opinion on this matter, and the simple short answer is not at all. I don't really have a personal connection towards the Vietnam War since I wasn't born at the time. I'm a millennial, so I can't really understand the hardships of what my family has to go through in order to survive in that environment. I can have some ideas though, and Black Ops manages to showcase the Vietnamese citizens in more sympathetic light as well. But you have to realize that not even the Vietnamese were happy about the Vietnamese government. One has to understand the differences between its people and how its rulers function, and at the time, Vietnam was a heavily communist-like regime. Of course its citizens won't be happy, and of course they are against the military. But we had no choice in the matter, so what can we do? Get help from America, and as an American soldier, killing citizens is out of the questions. You're not even allowed to do so anyway since the game won't let you. But yeah, overall, there's really nothing too special in my opinion. It looks like your average Call of Duty games, and this also continues with the cutscenes as well. They animate nicely, at least, but they still have that good old piss brown shading. I think maybe there might be a little bit more color in Black Ops 2. It definitely showcases more in the club stage, but otherwise, it's not a huge graphical leap.
Yeah, I didn't really have too much to say about the gameplay at all. I could probably just expand it a little bit more by talking about its online servers, or maybe it's my new change between gameplay to gameplay. But I was a Call of Duty kid that was playing this game more for its story rather than anything, just to see how the narrative structure is like. Lame excuse, I know, but honestly, that's what makes the game so enjoyable for me, and with Black Ops 4 not having a single-player campaign, it doesn't give me an incentive to buy the game at all. It's like, why? Why would they remove something that's such a core aspect towards the Call of Duty series? It's really unfortunate because I really honestly do enjoy this series. I think the last game that I managed to play vividly was Call of Duty Ghosts, and that was a real train wreck. I might want to cover that someday, but not now. But yeah, it's like Black Ops 2 is to this day the last Call of Duty games I consider really good. And I want more of that. That's why I made this video, to showcase the positive aspects of the Call of Duty series, rather than nitpick about the bad things that a lot of people manages to do. And like I said, I do agree with certain criticisms. I think the annualization is definitely like making the Call of Duty series more downgraded than usual. But to me, it's also important to recognize the good things that the series has done rather than focus mainly on the bad things completely. Anyways, I'm giving the winner to Call of Duty Black Ops 2 solely for its story, because I think that's the thing that pretty much edges me to really enjoy the game more. Not to say that Black Ops 1 was bad. Like I said, it is still an enjoyable ride by its own right. I just happen to like Call of Duty Black Ops 2 a little bit more. Of course, you can't play Black Ops 2 without playing Black Ops 1 first, so I highly recommend doing that if you want to enjoy the full extent of the Black Ops 2 game. Well, that's going to be it for today's Compare and Contrast episode. If you guys like this video, make sure to leave a like down below. If you guys have any comments or critiques, definitely feel free to leave them in the comment section down below as well. I am always willing to listen. With that in mind, thank you guys so much for watching. This is TheBassSinger, signing out. Where could that be? Hello?